Alright, and let's continue on with Red Hot Racing Circuit and do the rest of Australian Grand Prix. As you can see, I've just simulated the other two practice sessions and received the allegedly reduced rewards from them. So that's the map of the Melbourne Grand Prix circuit. They call it Albert Park Grand Prix or Albert Park Raceway or Albert Park Circuit. It's just Melbourne. Usually I just call it Australia though, because that's the way that the game labels them in most of the menus. That's just the country they're in. You're like Australia, Germany, United States, Mexico, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so let's do qualifying. And this will be the best gauge of whether or not the difficulty is set correctly. If I'm running faster than... If I'm 7th or below, then it's good enough. If I'm not, then Houston, we have a problem.
We're just about ready to kick off today's qualifying here in Melbourne. It's the Australian
Grand... That was a good cutoff. So I usually do one lap at the start of the session. Oh, that's still turned on. Luckily, I don't exactly have any problems with the car setup. I usually don't have that on, but I forgot to turn it off. As that said there, and this is a thing in real life, park for May, or closed parking. As soon as I have begun qualifying, I cannot make changes to the setup other than front wing adjustments and the fuel load. There are changes I can make from inside the car, brake bias, and differential settings. I really don't need to, though. I see traffic. I'm not a fan of the traffic. There's Blossom and... Monica is the other one ahead of us. Completing sentences is difficult, I tell you. Come on, Blossom, you move for Monica. Thank you. That was a little bit sketchy, but oh, I thought that was a 000. No, 008. And then Neri just comes and absolutely destroys that. That felt interesting. Well, this lap isn't quite my full potential because I was obstructed by Monica here. That's quite fast. Even still, I would probably be on pole right now if I wasn't blocked by that Toro Rosso. There's a little live TV feed. I can watch the other drivers go around to pass time, or I can just speed it up, which is what I'm going to do in a moment, but figure I'll watch, let's watch Kurt Weil do a bit of his own lap here. As he starts with the clock on his hot lap. Currently on pole is...
Best lap so far is a 124.2.
And he'll pop up out of nowhere with things like that. Currently on pole is Kadim, as I suspected would be the case. The Mercedes is undoubtedly the best car by a decent ways. However, the other AI teams also have to manage their own research and development for their own cars. So over time there can be a bit of power creep, and certain teams can move up and down the order accordingly. So, given a certain point in the season, there may come a time where maybe Ferrari's research will surpass that of Mercedes and their car will become faster. Maybe Renault might end up becoming faster than Racing Point, which is currently not the case. And he will run a lap time of a 1:24.2, which is, well, right on me. Very close to me, as a matter of fact. If this were exactly how it went at the end of the session, I'd be fine with that. However, I don't think it will be because of how much I got denied in that final sector by Monica. As you can see,
If you want to know specific information or make certain changes to the car during a pit stop, you can tell me what you want over the radio. Press and hold the radio button to activate the system, and you can either speak the command or select it manually from the radio screen that will appear on the multifunction display. While the radio is active, cycle through command groups with the MFD button.
better get used to that. Yeah. So you can see the individual sector times. I gained an entire...
We're 18 for
Ah!
the trap, 196.5
Enough!
miles per hour.
I gained almost 2/10 on him in Sector 2. We're about dead even in Sector 1, but I lost about 1/10 in Sector 3. I'm still faster than him by 2/100ths or so, but I should be probably about where Suwako is there, probably with a 24 flat.
You're doing a great job. We're much higher up the field than we expected to be.
That's not me or the car. I think that's just because our competition isn't super well versed. Haas has the best cars besides the main three teams, but the problem is that they don't have the best drivers. Lando Norris's AI, or Kurt Wild's AI, is going to perform considerably better than those of the Haas drivers of Thrasher or Shadow, which is weird because those two drivers have been in F1 for a lot longer than the Lando Norris has. Kurt Wild is a rookie this year, technically. In real life, Lando Norris isn't. I didn't change my tires. Well, crap on a cracker.
Just 30 seconds left in the session.
Do need to hook that curb pretty well. Don't need those curbs. Only curb you really need to hit is turn 1. The other ones are either nothing or bad. I think I'll still manage to go faster even with the worn tires. It just means that I'll have to watch just how not good they are come like lap 5 or 6 of the race. Nearly half a second faster.
Good work.
That should be like 5th or 6th. Yeah, so I think I beat out Suwako. But the other 5 are still ahead of me.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Hamilton, Verstappen, and Valtteri Bottas. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
So I think I'm actually fine on the difficulty aspect because Kurt Wilde is right there on me, which is the one that I need to be next to, more so than anybody else. Unshockingly, Kadeem with pole, followed by Tyler, then Nidari, then Amy, then Remu, myself, Kurt Wilde, Suako, Sonic, and Thrasher. And a thing to remember, very important thing to remember, top 10 only the top 10 in the race will score points. Also, qualifying isn't nearly as close as it usually is. It'll actually get closer as the series progresses though, trust me. The R&D simulation as far as a team improving their vehicle kind of changes the way the simulation works out. Ugh. Another interview, but since I did super well, there shouldn't be really very many negative things around it. Oh, I don't. Never mind. I do gain small amounts of resource points for this.
Well done. Very solid results. You're looking good for the race.
Yes, I guess let's just do the begin. I would love to keep these intros in, but I've heard of people getting copyright strike before because they make them so accurate to the real things, so...
New cars, it's a new Formula One season. But it's the same Albert Park that we've come to know and love for more than 2 decades now that plays host to round 1 of a 21-race championship that takes us from here in Australia across the globe. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race.
I might show this time, but I don't know if I'll continue to show it in future episodes. They are very long.
Lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel, Falcon, Norris, Albon, Gasly, and Roman Grosjean, Perez, Magnussen, Daniel Ricciardo, and Stroll, Hulkenberg, Raikkonen, Daniel Kvyat, and Antonio Giovinazzi. Russell and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid.
Oh yeah, Williams' cars are absolutely not worth a darn. So Keenan and Bubbles aren't going to get too far unless the RNG of the R&D.
Yesterday we qualified above expectations. Let's go out there and put in a performance.
A performance. Doesn't have to be a good one, just be a performance. I would like a little more fuel than that. And the game doesn't seem to think that that's going to hamper the red to yellow strategy, so let's just go. We are making a bit of a waiting game here. Oh, I lost out a little. I broke early. I couldn't see the racing line because of the car sitting right on top of it in front of me. The AI are definitely programmed to follow that line like it's the line to salvation, pretty much. Maybe ahead of Remu, don't expect that to hold for very long. Because the Ferrari is a lot faster in a straight line, no matter how much fuel or ERS I try to use up to keep her there. I would probably say, yeah. Looks like Kurt Wild's still hanging there in 7th. It requires steering. Oh, let's maybe turn in. No, she approaches. It's Rainbow behind me, not actually Sebastian Vettel. Of course, as always, it'll be a bit of a process getting used to calling them by different names rather than the F1 names, especially considering I'm so used to calling them by those names for so long. It isn't like Project Cars where it's like, oh, it's the number 26 Acura. There's Danny, because, well, there isn't a different name associated with that car normally. But it clearly says Vettel on the giant name tag behind me, but it's not. In this context, that's just Remo. Oh, he's there. Or they're there. She's there. When she does pass me, I would like it to be on the front straightaway, or maybe here would be one thing. I just don't want it to be in some place stupid like she almost tried. Because then it just sort of is inconvenient for both of us. I needed 5th, but it's fine. I'm apparently better than them. I'm apparently much better than her when exiting that final turn, though. Now, it is a requirement by just the rules of the sport to make at least one pit stop and change to a different compound of tires per race. Like, do that once every race. Unless it is raining, in which case then I don't have to do that necessarily. It seems Kurt couldn't hold on forever. Oh, you're defending? Against the McLaren? Really? Should I be challenging her? No. Am I going to? Yes, because it's for content. And if things go wrong, then I've got a backup strategy. Jeff now is really not exactly the time. I'm always paranoid of them diving me into that corner, which isn't really the best corner to try and be past at. And I really don't want to try and be past here, Suwaka, so if you could just maybe calm down and wait a minute. Because that corner, you definitely can't go next to each other in. Just wait until the front straightaway, please. I wish to live. Or wait until I go into the pits at the end of the following lap. And then neither of us have to make any effort. god, I'm in between Mountain of Faith all over again. Or it is Mountain of Faith all over again. I was late on the brakes, mainly because I couldn't see where the line began to start telling me brake. Good lord. Yeah, I'm not challenging through here though. I don't have a death wish. Oh, you went over there? You are literally in my gearbox. God, Suwako. You couldn't be any closer to me. I do not enjoy where this is going. Oh my. No vehicle damage. Oh. Yeah, I think it's time. Looking at the state of these tires, they could go further. Really, up until 60, you're safe. You'll start losing grip around, like, 45, really. The only problem with this is I'm all the way in the back of traffic, but if, if Suwako and Reimu do fight each other, or continue to, and maybe if my teammate can get into the mix as well, then I can actually make up time on them while I'm out here in clean track. Speaking of clean track though, this is a cool little feature. Little instant replay button, so I can just show you that your leader is not Kadeem. It is currently the 16 car. This would be Amy is currently leading this race. Remember, change camera button, there we go. Then followed by Kadeem, Tyler, and then Nittery is right there with them. And then we're just going on the rest of the order. These two are fighting as they enter turn 3 here, or this is not turn 3. What have they done that got them to this point, I wonder? Looks like, all the way back now. Looks like, it appears as though Marissa, threw it into turn 3 on Sayori. And they have been too wide for a while. Sayori got a good launch. Nearly ran her off the road there, did Marissa, and that has opened her up to attack from her teammate, which is Taylor. And that is still going on as we speak. So the AI actually fight each other in this game. It can actually be kind of fun to watch, but only under provided circumstances do they do so. So that fight is for like 14th place between those two right now. And on this lap, about half of the field should be going in. It is unwise, usually, for a team to have both their cars pit on the same lap, especially when they're all this close together in the field. Once again, the mediums are feeling better than the soft tires. Looks like nobody pit yet. We'll just see how that battle has raged on between those front 4 cars. And this is Kadeem around the outside of Amy. Now, if you've seen Kadim's vehicle in World Race, it's basically a Formula 1 car, but with an extra engine in it. And this is just how the state has maintained itself. These two are not fighting. They are near each other. Also, where did you come from? This sounds weird. Looks like, yeah, utilizing DRS, Natsuki got around my teammate down the front straightaway. And, Kurt didn't appreciate it, but Natsuki had the better exit out of the corner. And then had DRS on the second part of the straightaway, so therefore she got a good distance ahead. I should probably actually drive, because I do need to finish the race within an hour. And soon enough, I will have these two Williams cars to contend with, which I'm not really looking forward to doing. They are much slower than me, and if I don't catch them in the right spot, I'm going to lose large amounts of time. Especially when they're doing that. Now, if there's one thing they do tie me in, it's cornering, or it's top speed, because their engines are powered technically just like customer Mercedes engines. So they've got a bit of that, but they don't have much of anything else. And
Lando is in the pits. Lando in the pits.
Keenan basically just gave way for me on that one, so... And, as you heard, Kurt has entered the pits. And you may go defensive, but to be honest, I really don't care. And I'm right back with Suwako. As I was too busy trying to make sure I was clear of bubbles, and almost about killed myself. Ooh, okay, traffic has appeared. And, Rainbow is ahead of the traffic. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Pressure, 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 pressure. How do you like it, Suwako? Now you better move forward. I'm all over the curbs. The game didn't say anything though. Oh god, Cam, your vehicle is so much worse handling. I'm here. Before Sonic qualified, this is kind of a low I didn't expect him to be at. And let me tell you, that's not normally a passing zone. I will be the first to admit it. Okay. Things have died down for a split second. Just have a normal lap of the Australian Grand Prix, shall we? I don't think I'll be catching Amy or Rainbow up there. Ooh, yep, that's what I mean with those curves right there. A little early on that. A lot early on that. Looks like, though, Rainbow has had to contend with traffic. Now, Taylor stayed out for an extra lap, and that really got in Rainbow's way. Which is massively helpful for myself. Yellow. What has happened? Oh! That is unlucky. Rainbow's engine has exploded.
Virtual safety car. Reduce speed immediately and keep a positive delta. Drop your speed. Our delta is too low and we risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
Basically a little waiting period. Normally during a virtual safety car, pit crews would be going out to deal with his stranded vehicle. So yeah, Rainbow has DNF'd. Her engine has blown up. That can just happen to AI in the middle of a race. And usually happens at least one time in every round.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until the green flag. VSC ending. Wait for green. Green flag. We're racing again.
There we go. So that's actually a free position for me, so I have absolutely no complaints on Rainbow having an engine problem.
Gap to car in front is 9.6 seconds.
It appears as though Kadeem is running away from Tyler, Amy, and Nidri up there. But I'm not exactly running away from Sulaco behind me. Oh yeah, I'm fully charged because I had it on like nothing during the safety car. That's probably why Sulaco is catching me, because she's probably been using that. And she was stored and I wasn't. They can have straight up failures or they can have faults. Faults will slow them down. Failures will be what just happened to Rangers. So there's something wrong with Sayari's car, and they would be slower than usual. Looks like Kurt's having some competition back there. Let's maybe take a quick look at his story. Now he's currently working on getting back at Natsuki right now. But we don't quite have the engine power for him to really tackle her yet. Okay. Car didn't like the way I exited that turn at all. Oh god, Sulaco is there, and I'm not a big fan of that. I am really not a big fan of any of this. Put on your hats, gentlemen. Googly eyes or not, this is going to be an interesting final 3 laps. That car is considerably better than mine. But I've got like 80-some% ERS down there in the bottom right. Bit of extra fuel. And the human advantage of being a human. Feels like nil threat right there. I'm kind of concerned she might be saving it for something stupider. Like something like turn 9, which I am not a big fan of that plan, if that's the case. Probably turn that back off. It's turn 13, I don't care. I can defend or do things there. Okay, Jeff, that's no longer relevant to me. It's 12 seconds up the road, almost. I need to deal with the one that's a second behind me at the moment. He needs like 2 additional laps, by the way. Made decent distance between us. I think she might have used all of her stuff too early. All of her additional fuel and maybe most of her ERS is probably gone too. Pushing just to reach me. Which is a good thing and also kind of sad at the same time, because I was hoping to have a really intense couple of final laps. But she doesn't seem to be able to challenge yet. Well, she's maybe preparing the kitchen sink to throw at me for the final lap, but at this point she's too far away to even try it if she can.
Hamilton's in first place.
Yes, I am well aware of that, thank you. Ooh. Curb no enjoy presence of race car. Yeah, there's nothing from her.
Final lap of the race.
Turned in a lot later than I should have there. It's like I was trying to wreck the car or something.
Gap to the car in front is 10.3 seconds.
I thought I was in standard. I hadn't noticed. And unsurprisingly, Kadeem will win. Tyler in second, and albeit contested, Amy will take third from Mittery. And I'm gonna get an unprojected 5th place ahead of Suwako after Reimu had engine services.
The Mercedes team put up a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
Is it though?
So let's review the updated driver's standings. Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship.
Well, no duh.
After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Well, often my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Nico Hülkenberg's clean driving throughout the event.
It's time to check out...
It's currently Taylor's driver of the day.
Mercedes moved to the top of the table. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing.
And she went up 5 spots to score a point. Similar story from Shadow, who went up 3 himself. Same with Natsuki. So yeah, well, the standings aren't going to be any different from what they look like right now. That's sad. We're ahead of Ferrari in constructors because Rimu's engine didn't finish the race. Duh. So let's take care of the post-race formalities, and that'll be it for the first round of the first season of the RHRC. No press? Okay. This little rivalry system. The only real major selling point about it is the fact that I gain resource points when I defeat a rival.
Great work. That's exactly the kind of result I'm looking for. Keep it up. Looks like one of your rivals has also been invited to a historical event. This could be a good opportunity to play up your rivalry for the press and expand your reputation.
Again, literally nothing else besides that, and that doesn't really matter. These are little bonus challenge events you can do using some of the older Formula 1 cars. Yeah, exactly. There's no obligation to participate, so therefore I'm not going to participate. And we would move on to round 2 in Sakir, Bahrain, which is vaguely near Saudi Arabia for the uninformed, which is most people, because to be honest, Bahrain isn't really brought up very often. And I'm surprised they even put a track here instead of like Egypt or something.
Practice sessions are vital for the continuing development of the car, but if you need to, you can choose to simulate the session instead. It won't be as effective as having you behind the wheel directly, but it's better than missing the session entirely.
So yeah, that is all for the first episode. Only one of the upgrades worked, and that's because it's the durability one that cannot mess up, so that's a great sign, McLaren. Please go away. Yeah, of course it's not going to rain. Bahrain's in the desert. So I guess we'll just try these again. And it cannot fail a second time if it's already failed once, so that's at least something. And let's actually make that upgrade too. That'll reduce the chance of things failing down from 37.5% to 30% chance of messing up. I feel like that'll be kind of important. It's like nobody did anything in between weekends, so... So yeah, that is this episode of the Red Hot Racing Circuit. It was a major success. I may have to tick the difficulty up like 1 or 2 later. I think it is 94 right now, and I probably should have 96, I would say. But that's matter for later.